Welcome back to the Two-Way Hockey Podcast. It's been a busy-ish week. Missed a bit. We got a new segment. Excited, Nick? Yeah, big thumbs up from the kid. All right. So from from here on out, we're going to be doing our stars of the week. There's going to be 4 of them because we're supposed to have a different number of people, but we're missing one today. So we'll get his in there first. Mac, you want to start us off with it?
Yeah, my star of the week was Jack Eichel. He didn't have the most points in the week, but he definitely helped his team to 2-1 record. He also had a very good underlying number. Some more of the advanced stats. He had 65.28% of his shots for compared to shots against in his week this week in his 3 games. So basically, he had three shots to every 1 shot that the other team had on net. So that's pretty good.
So he's gross, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he had a good week for sure.
He's not bad. He's a player. He's probably a little underrated though, eh?
I believe so. Yeah, I kind of touched on that in the article I wrote there on Monday, but we can dive into that a little deeper later.
Mac's been killing it with articles, by the way. I'm really proud of him. I appreciate it. If you're listening, go give his stuff a read. It's good stuff. Or just give us views. We like views. Nick, who you got this week?
I went with Roman Josi. They played 3 games. He had 2 assists, 4 goals for 6 points. I believe he was a +5. He's carrying their blue line. He's looked amazing so far. He's carrying the puck like nobody's business. I mean, obviously he just signed a new contract. Maybe that was this week, I guess. But, I mean, pretty big ticket, pretty big player. He had a great week. He was out of teams that played 3 games this week. He was 3rd in the league in scoring as a D-man. I mean, I know he's a D-man because I picked him for the Norris, so shout out to me. Thanks for coming. It's sticking with my Norris pick.
Yeah, you're sick, eh?
Yeah,
it was a good pick. It was a good pick. I mean,
it's a great pick.
I mean, he's no John Carlson, but hey.
You'd think with saying that you would be about to say John Carlson.
But he didn't have as big of a week last week as he is this week. So, by the way, we kind of forgot to mention, our weeks don't go from our last podcast to this podcast. Our weeks are on pace with the NHL, so we go Sunday to Sunday, just so you're not confused by anything. Sorry. My pick this week was Bo Horvat. I'm kind of jumping all over the Canucks bandwagon, so it might have something to do with my pick.
Big Canucks fan.
But all of a sudden, because that team is a lot of fun to watch, and they're making me a decent amount of money, so I appreciate it. He had 4 goals, 2 assists. He single-handedly beat, was it Detroit that they came back? They were down 2-0, came back, scored 3 goals. Thank you. I'll take the money.
Yeah, all in the third, too.
Yep, all in the third. They're down 2-0 going into the third. I'm like, I'm losing that one. And then boom, 5 straight. 3 of them from Bo. I'm like, thanks, boys. He's on my fantasy team. Big week for the kid.
Definitely had puck line.
Yeah, gotta give him the shout out for that. I love it. Thank you. Do you want to do Brandon's? He has his written down, but
yeah, sure. He's actually lost in the rainstorm right now. We couldn't find him, so he's got Alexander Barkov. Florida played 3 games this week. Don't know how they did because it's Florida. Nobody really watches. But Barkov had 7 assists. I mean, that's pretty good. It's over 2 assists a game. Quick math. 4 assists. And I mean, he didn't do great on faceoffs this week. I saw that. He's like 36%. I don't know. Maybe slow the Selke train down on him. But, I mean, it's a good pick nonetheless. He's the star there in Florida, and he carried them this week.
Yep.
Shout out to Brandon.
2-0-1.
That's okay.
Yeah, there's a few other guys we could have been on there. I know Marchand was a big deal. Brandon almost picked him. He had 3 goals and 5 assists in the 3 games they played. I mean,
it's tough though because we kind of entered in our picks on Sunday afternoon, and I don't know. They played Sunday afternoon after we made our picks, and they each had 5 points. Him and Pasternak. Yeah. So it was tough to pick them for.
They played Boston.
We've got our
week
set moving forward. We'll be good now.
They played Boston in our week, right? Or Toronto, sorry.
Week, right? Yeah.
Pasternak had that disgusting between the legs, completely unnecessary goal that he scored too. So that they were good.
Tony DeAngelo, he could get some credit there too. Three goals, 3 assists in 3 games as
As a
second
New
pair
York-
defenseman on a bad team in New York. He was.
They
I don't know if you guys.
They beat Tampa Bay last night.
Everybody's beating Tampa Bay because we keep picking them.
Yep, that's fair. We got to stop that. I don't think I took that one. I was like, we'll stay away. Yeah. I mean, we could probably move on from our stars, unless somebody
I'd
wants
throw
to
Kevin
do anything
Hayes in
else.
there too. He had 3 goals, 3 assists in 3 or 4 games this week. Philly had a tough one against Pittsburgh, but he looked good before that.
Yeah, was not pretty, eh? Yeah, there's a lot of guys that could have been picked. It was a pretty good week for a lot of guys, but those are our 4. I hope you disagree because it's a lot more fun when you do.
Leave a comment, tag Brant.
Yeah, yell at me, do all that stuff. Slide in my DMs and yell at me. It's a lot of fun. I like to argue. We don't have a lot of Leaf stuff to go over this week, which is a first because we normally spend way too much time on them. Mac, your article about Matthews. Tell me about it, man.
I've just been. I don't know. I'm not personally a Leaf fan, as you can see by my Hawks hat, Hawks jerseys, whatever.
Right. Didn't notice.
But I am a fan of Austin Matthews, and the kid can play. I'm just going to pull it up quick because I don't remember everything I wrote off the top of my head. But there's so many underlying numbers that people don't realize how good this guy is. And if you guys wanted to skip ahead for a second, I'll pull this up and get the proper numbers.
I was just going to say, being at the game last night to keep it on Matthews, just what a shot. Like, when he gets the puck down low, it's it's almost like how Yager was back in the day, where he'd stick it out and nobody could get it off him. Same with Crosby. And obviously he's stick handling and he's deking around guys more than those guys do, but just the way that he controls the play down low and then fires shots, that tip, that was in the far end from me, but oh my God, you saw it change direction, you're like, wait, what? And then it's on the video board and everybody's like, oh, okay.
That was insane.
Yeah, so
That's nuts.
back to the stats guy.
Yeah.
Just diving deeper into the more in-depth advanced analytics, Matthews really stands out, especially when it's a 5-on-5 situation. So if you look at the control of the puck, basically, or the control of the shots in a game, when Matthews is on the ice, the Maple Leafs control 59.23% of the shots. This leads all forwards in this category.
So that means
crazy.
It's good.
So he's
you at
good.
home.
Really
So
good.
Analytically, that means he's good.
Really good. When Matthews is on the ice, his team has accumulated over 200 shots for. This leads, again, all forwards in this category by more than 8 shot attempts. Second is Nylander, who's on his line. The third is Sidney Crosby. So that's who you're kind of going to be comparing him with.
So
and then once you get into the, he's pretty good.
Crosby guy.
I've
heard a thing or two about him.
Good.
I've heard a few things.
So again, when you're looking at primary points, so primary points are anything that it's either a goal or a primary assist. So the guy who actually passes the goal scorer of the puck, not secondary scoring, whatever.
That's your Hockey 101 with.
Matthews averages 2.49 even strength primary points per 60 minutes of ice. Now, it sounds like a stat I'm trying to make up, but it's not. It's basically my point of how dominant Matthews is. A primary assist is a lot more important than a secondary assist in most situations. Obviously, if you're on a 2-on-1 and the defense chips it off the boards and they go on 2-on-1, clearly the primary assist is more important. So that's kind of where I'm thinking. He's got Connor McDavid is second in the league since the beginning of the 2017 season with 2.42. So it's over the course of that much time. I think it's 22 points that they would cover in the games and times that they've played. So
it's okay.
Yeah.
So he's good.
Plus
so maybe the hype train in Toronto is legit.
Yeah. Plus 5-on-5, he has an average of 1.67 even strength goals per 60 minutes. Who is second in that category, you might ask? Alex Ovechkin.
Oh. Oh,
He scores.
he's
He
not
scores.
bad, right?
Sure,
What's the puck in the net?
most of Alex Ovechkin's goals come from the power play in the circle. However, he is one of the most prolific goal scorers of all time. Better than the great one? Nick says yes. We'll see
Check
about
out
that.
the article.
But 5-on-5, Matthews hasn't beat. So
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 is
everybody's
Matthews better
saying,
than Ovechkin?
why is Matthews making 11.6 million? just come
go
back to
read
this
Mac's
article.
and find out, because it's probably worth it.
Yeah.
You might
Actually-
even learn a thing or two.
Yeah, maybe. I do. I do every time I listen to that man speak. It's great. Sticking with those two, actually, Ovechkin, before the game last night, made some comments about the Leafs. I'll read them just in case you haven't heard them. He goes, for them, they're still a young group of guys. I hope they're going to learn, but it's up to them how they want to do it. If they want to play for themselves, or if they want to win a Stanley Cup, they have to play differently. What do you guys think about those comments?
I think. Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
Oh, you give her.
I think that I agree with a lot of the experts right now, a lot of the old school experts, in the sense that they don't have anybody that can protect them. And I think that isn't allowing them to go out there and make that little hack or slash that they're not going to get caught with, because somebody will do something back to them. Whereas you have that guy that can stand up for you, you're a little more confident to make a hit because you're not going to get jumped, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have somebody like Wilson on your team, no one's going to touch you, or Reeves,
Fair.
or whatever, right?
We'll take Reeves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't
And
mind.
I agree with that. And it's not some like, oh, we need old school hockey. We need guys just to fight. Like, it's not like that, because that doesn't work anymore. Like, we're talking about all the advanced stats. Like, this team is built well, but they just don't stand up for one another. Like, maybe
Right.
the guy's not there. Maybe they have to go get somebody. But like, you can't say that all the talk in the media about them not being tough enough and stuff hasn't gotten to them. Like, you've seen Kapanen's comments last week about saying how they don't play with any grit, no balls. Then last game, Kapanen's running around hitting guys, something he hasn't done in a while. Matthews gets hit in the head right in front of the net, and his helmet comes off. He comes up swinging. Like, that's things that you haven't seen from them before. And it's the fact that they're losing and this is getting talked about is like the fact
Maybe
that they're
they wanna make-
changing how they play shows that it is true. Like,
For me,
Yeah.
the only thing with this whole comment was just like, I get it. He's probably right, yes. But I think it's really rich coming from Ovechkin. Like, I know you have a cup. I get it. How many years in a row did you lose before you got that cup? And how many of those years were you the President's Trophy winner or the one
and
seed?
that's what Matthews said after. He's like, how many years did
Yeah.
they lose to the Pens? And like, I agree with that. But at the same time, like, you can look at it as Ovechkin didn't win the Selke. It's not like he changed his game.
No.
Like, he's still doing his thing. They've had the same core for forever.
Yep.
The one thing that I would say in Ovechkin's defense, even though I do agree he probably is right, would just be the fact that he shows up and gets 4 points after.
Yeah.
If you want to go
I
out
mean,
and make,
he
if you want to
backed it
go
up.
make points about comments about another team, put up 4 points on them.
But to that point, it's just like, did that team ever change in their runs there? Like, they just kept losing to Pittsburgh and didn't really make a big change. Like, was there a
I'd say-
difference between?
Literally, the year that they lost was the year that they were least favored to win.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like they made a change in their roster, though. It's not like they did something to their game. They kept doing the same thing, and finally it just worked because
They
Holtby
did.
stood
They
on
had
the
a
bench for
coaching
year.
change.
Yeah,
They had a coaching
that,
change.
and-
They added more grit on their bottom end too, like on
Yeah,
their
and
bottom six
they're-
forwards. Plus adding Wilson, not adding Wilson, but giving Wilson that
coming
more.
in.
Adding skill, Wilson.
Yeah, basically.
Letting
And
Wilson
that was
score
also
more
the
score
year
goals.
that Trotz kind of opened it up and let Carlson start going with it more. That was the year that Carlson put up 68 or whatever we said, and their D were much more activated. They made small changes, and it just allowed them to finally overcome it, I guess.
You mentioned Tom Wilson. Last night he hit Jake Muzzin. Jake Muzzin went down. Tried to come back a little later. Couldn't even bother to do so. Legs fucked. I don't know if there's been news on it since. Has there? Has anyone seen it?
Nothing that I've seen.
Just says day to day right now. Nothing more than that.
How much does that hurt if you're the Leafs? If he can't come back anytime soon?
Well, the biggest thing to me was that he did the same thing to Barry. I don't know if you guys saw that one. The one on Barry was
I
worse.
missed the entire regulation game. But
Okay, so Wilson went into the corner, hit Muzzin, clean hit. Muzzin kind of
Yeah.
turned away from it like this, and Wilson
Yeah,
at
cut
the
his
last
leg.
second, he lifts his leg into Muzzin's.
Okay.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's a dirty hit. It's not a suspension, anything like that.
It's a
People
Tom
just
Wilson hit,
overreact.
though, where it's just like
People overreact because it's Wilson, but I
Yeah.
will say against that, like, you know what you're doing when you lift your leg. As you're cruising in to hit a guy, you're not lifting your leg.
I don't
You know
think
what
he
you're
lifted
doing.
his leg though.
If you
I'm
do the
watching
slow mo,
it.
his right skate's about 3 or 4 inches off the ice. And then on Barry, it was back of the legs. People were all enraged about that. Carlson was flopping around pretending to dive like Barry supposedly did. He thought Ovechkin was screaming. Like, they're pretty upset about it. I didn't think either hit was that bad. I mean, thankfully Barry came back. Muzzin, that's a big loss.
Yeah.
He has 9 points on the year right now, or 8,
Yeah.
or something like that.
And that's your PK guy. Like,
Yeah.
even fast forward in that game, CC played the entire overtime period. CC didn't leave the ice once. That's Jake Muzzin out there probably.
4 minutes
You
straight.
got Justin Hall out for a good chunk of that too,
Yeah.
which is like I mean Justin Hall's been good, but like that's not a guy you want playing. He played 22 minutes last night, 21 minutes last night. I think
He
it was.
played well. I'll give
Yeah.
him that.
Yeah,
But you want Muzzin out there in those moments.
yeah, you don't want Justin Hall for
And
21
with
minutes tonight.
also, I'm sure we were going to talk about it at some point, but Dermott came back, and just the fact that they're probably not going to rush him into that. Maybe he's a PK guy moving forward, but like an overtime game, you're not going to put him out there blocking, eating Ovechkin shots. Like,
Yeah.
in his
How
first
did he
game back.
play?
Dermott,
Dermott,
I
yeah.
missed.
Did he play?
Dermott, yeah.
How did he play?
Oh, he played good, yeah.
Yeah.
He,
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
think it's too
he's
early to
something that they
judge on
don't
what.
have.
Like
Like-
he's it's been one game. I think it's kind of like it's good to have him back. I mean, it's better than having Martin Marincin out there looking like
Exactly.
a piece of trash. So I mean, it's nice to have him back. He'll come around. It's one game. He's been off for a month. It's kind of like let's just pump the brakes on expectations for him right now.
The one
But-
thing that I will say about him is he's a different type of defender in the sense that he defends with speed. Like, if you watch Riley and Barry, they're both fast skaters, but they defend with their stick completely.
Yep.
Muzzin, obviously, he's the only physical presence we have. Hall, I don't know what I'd consider him. But
Yeah.
Dermott just uses his feet, like purely his feet. He
Yeah.
closes gaps. He
I
gets
was
in
about
the
to say that. Yeah.
Like, it's just
His
a different
ability to
style of
close the
defender.
gap on turnovers is wild too. Like someone turns the puck over, he catches him 90% of the time. Like it's you don't get a lot of easy rushes against this team when he's on the ice, which is something this team doesn't really have. Like they've got good skaters on their back end, but a lot of them are quick. They're just good on their feet, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it'll be nice to have him back.
Definitely. Just to finish it up on all these different conversations we've had here on the Leafs, like, how crazy is Ovechkin that he's getting the puck there in overtime?
Yep.
He must have had 8
Three
shots.
straight shots.
Like, that
Three
was
straight.
right in front of where I was, and it was what 4-on-3, and then it went to a 5-on-4, and it went back to 4-on-3 after Marner's penalty bonehead. And just like Hall's standing there, and you just know he's eating those shots.
Yeah.
Ovechkin got 7 off, 3 of them hit the net, and finally one goes in.
If you watch the highlight of his goal, they show it too, because it's like he takes a shot, he gets blocked, he gets back around, he takes a shot, misses the net, he comes back around, he takes another shot. I'm like, he's getting the puck,
And
it
you
doesn't
there's nothing
matter.
You can do.
It's
Nothing
still going
you
to end
can
up
do.
in the back of the net. It's like you give him enough chances, like, well, shit.
And it's
You can
not
almost
on-
run all 4 guys on him and then hope for the best.
And it's nobody's fault.
No,
Anderson
He's just
stopped 3 of them, I think, and Hall blocked 1. He got in front of every single one, which is more than any of us would do.
even that last one, he was squared up on the shot, and it was just an absolute cannon. It was labeled for the twine. Nothing you could do. He's a weapon. I hated him for a while, but like, just
No,
guy's a weapon.
gotta
I
love
hated him early. He had this like crash to his game where it's just like
I
he
love
threw some
that.
hits where
That
I'm
was my
like,
favorite Ovi.
I didn't like it.
Bowling
I like him
ball
better
Ovi
now.
was my favorite Ovi for sure.
Bowling ball. There's a lot of concern among Leaf fans right now. Is there warrant for that? Do you think?
A little bit. I like I said, I think they need to get some toughness. And I think that can that'll do a lot for the team. Just in confidence.
Okay.
I would
just-
agree with that.
Yeah, I just think it's getting a little overblown. Like, yeah, they're in a tough stretch. They've had a tough schedule, man. They're facing good teams. They played 4 back-to-backs already. It's like it's a tough month.
The issue with saying that is if you go back to January 1st of last year onwards, they're 13th. They're 13th in the conference.
Mhm.
Yeah.
with the record. That's
From
where-
a year
that's-
ago today.
Yeah.
82 games, they were 29, 25, and whatever the difference is, I don't know math, for 86 points, which puts them
Yeah.
about 8 points out of a playoff spot.
That's
I've
where
heard-
it gets a little.
I've heard that argument
Yeah.
a lot, but like realistically, when were they playing meaningful hockey last year? Like they had that spot, they had a spot locked up. You knew who you're going to play. It's like we knew it was Boston from what, December, January.
Yeah.
So it's like you're playing in these games where it's like, you know what? Well, you might as well conserve yourself because you're going to make the playoffs and you're going to play Boston anyway. So there's no sense in trying to kill
But
yourself.
I mean, in some sense, when you're giving up 2 points in every back-to-back, when you're losing games that you shouldn't be to crappy teams, every game becomes meaningful at a point because
Sure.
we're not in a playoff spot right now. Tampa's not in a playoff spot right now.
Okay.
Florida and Buffalo are. That's teams that people aren't counting on.
Mhm.
Say one of those guys sticks, you just lost
Yeah.
a playoff spot for either Toronto or Tampa.
Sure. I just think that I think the story that has been since January is just overblown because like you could see it last year. Once you kind of lock up this spot where it's like you're pretty much guaranteed this spot with against Boston. It's like the team kind of did one of these, and it's like we'll just rest till the playoffs. And they stepped it up. They were a completely different team come playoff time. And then the start of the season's just been you lose to Tavares, you don't have Hyman or Dermott, you're already have a tough schedule in the first month. It's like I think it's being a little overblown a bit. I think you need to take a step back and relax because this
I
team's
agree
still
with that.
incredible.
And the only thing that I would say, and it kind of goes both ways, like you could be like, well, they need to do better, or like it's there and we'll be fine, is how many times can you actually think that Matthews has had a good game, Marner's had a good game, Nylander's had a good game, Tavares had a good game, Riley's had a good game, Anderson's had a good game all at once? Like
I don't think there's been a game yet.
they don't ever piece that together.
No.
Like
No.
at the start of last year when they were winning 8-2 and everybody was getting 2 points, that was good.
Yeah.
I don't remember that happening.
No. At one point, it just kind of they all split, and it's just like some people have a great game one game, but like the rest of them are having a shit game over there. It's like they don't really bring it together as one. I think once they start doing that, and the team kind of gets a little more consistency.
Are you really a 3-line team if only one line's scoring every night and that one lane changes every night?
Yep.
Like
It's rare that this team gets scoring from all of their lines.
Yep. All right. Well, that's enough about the
Well,
Leafs.
I think that's the
gonna
least
get
we've
sad.
talked about them, so that's pretty good. I want to start with Landeskog. He's out indefinitely. They still don't have an actual time frame of it.
They asked Bednar today if it was week to week, and he said no longer.
So that's frightening.
So that's long.
So this now puts Colorado without their second and third best player, which is a team that wasn't deep to begin with. Can this team ever catch a break? Like
No,
they lost
no.
They lost Ranty last year. They lost Landy last year, and it's just like this team, man. They finally look like this team that could contend, and they lose these two again.
The good thing about this year is that they're a lot deeper, I find, especially from the back end with guys like Makar and Girard getting that much better, right?
Yep.
Plus, they have a steady goalie that's been really, really good this year.
Frank Coos?
Yeah. I mean, he's hasn't
Somehow.
been too bad.
I didn't know who that was.
I think he has a better
Yeah.
save percentage, which is hilarious. I mean,
But
it's good. If they manage to maintain this,
yes,
and the team stays near the top of the division, and
Yes.
they run into the playoffs, maybe they get these guys back and they continue. But if they stay at this spot, can we just hand Nate Mack the Hart Trophy, or am I wrong on that?
Kadri's got to be in that race.
Right.
Hey, he's playing with McKinnon now.
yeah.
That's your second line center depth is now your first line right wing.
Seriously?
Yeah.
They moved him to the
Yeah.
wing? That's interesting. But
Donskoy, McKinnon, and Kadri.
right.
but-
So,
And Yost is a second line center.
Yeah.
so kind of helps my point there. If they keep winning and they're in this spot, it's his to lose, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Same thing with the Calder. I think it'd be Makar's, unless Hughes continues at what he's doing right now with 5 points in his last 3 games.
Also a honorable mention for Star of the Week.
Yeah.
Just don't have enough stars,
no.
you know.
We need like 10 stars. Just a consolation from the EA Sports.
It's a big
Yeah.
word.
It was tough. I had to Google that before. Don't worry. Yeah, I think that the Calder plays a little less into it because I think that's more of like who's got a ton of points. It's a little less on like your team success. but even still gives them the help because, like, you know what? Look what he's doing on this team. He's still putting up a ton of points for
Yeah,
Colorado
exactly.
guys. Yeah.
As he says, put the camera on me, I'll perform. That's what the dog does.
Brandon Perlini. This is in your realm here, Mac. Traded to Detroit for Alec Regula. Regula? I don't know how to pronounce it. This is more of you guys. I know he plays for the London Knights, and that's about my knowledge on.
So he's
Regula.
rich.
So yeah. He's got a contract that's not technically legal. Tell me about this kid. I don't know a damn thing about him.
He had a fairly good year last year. He's kind of struggling a bit this year out of the gate, although he doesn't have Boquist on his line like he did last year.
Playing with Boquist will help your points. I'm going to throw that out there.
Nick probably knows a little bit more about OHL stuff than I do, but it's a pretty good trade actually. He's got 11 points in 10 games so far this season. And he's a plus 14 on a team that's in last place in their division.
Yeah. No, he's still been good.
He's still been good. I like the trade just because we weren't using Perlini anyway.
Mm-hmm. He was a healthy scratch, right?
A couple games, yeah, and if not, he was on the fourth line. So
I know he requested a trade out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So I don't know, to get that somewhat decent of a defensive prospect back in a trade that knows how to play with a guy like Boquist, then I don't know. I like it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say he's a guaranteed NHLer. He has a good chance. He's not gonna be a top pairing guy or anything. But yeah, 3rd round pick to Detroit. Pretty good, pretty mobile. As you said, played with Boquist last year. I don't know. I like it from their standpoint, but I also like it from Detroit's. Like, Detroit has a bunch of young guys that I'm not going to say are great, but they have just a bunch of those middling prospects. Why not move some of them? And I mean, Perlini goes from being a healthy scratch to a top 6 winger. Is he a long-term top 6 winger? No, but like right now he steps in there, maybe he puts up some points, gets some confidence going, loses the tinted visor, and it'll be good.
He gives you something in Detroit, so it's better than nothing.
I hate that tinted visor. It's so ugly.
Does Ovi still wear one?
So they wear they're like smoked or something. They're called. It's not tinted.
You can't wear fully tinted.
You can't wear fully tinted because the goalies complained you can't see the shooter's eyes. To which Ovechkin said on the 31 Thoughts podcast, "You can't see my eyes when I score from the blue line." I mean, Kopitar wears the smoked one. Kane, Ovechkin.
Domi.
A couple guys. Domi, yeah, he should lose it too. He's an idiot.
I heard, I don't know if they misspoke, but they said something about Alec Regula being a co-captain for London. Did they just misspeak on that, or they actually have 2 captains?
No, a lot of OHL teams do that now. They'll do a home captain and an away captain.
Okay. That's
basically the coach.
It makes sense because think about it. Like in the OHL, you're trading your captain a lot of times.
Right.
If you're a rebuilding team, you're trading all your best players every year.
Okay.
Plus, Dale Hunter has basically said it's tough for a kid that age to come talk to myself and 2 other guys in our 50s, 60s, or whatever, and feel confident enough to say something to the coach. Whereas if there's 2 guys, and maybe they gain a little bit more confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. The Heritage Classic was on Sunday.
A game. Wow.
Was it Sunday or Saturday? It was Saturday.
Be honest. When did you guys know that this game was happening?
Thursday.
Friday or Saturday, I think.
Yeah, I was the day before. Yeah. It's just remarkable how bad the NHL is at promoting and marketing stuff. Yeah. And sure, it was big in Regina.
Canada.
I was gonna say it's neat because it was in Regina, which is different. It's a neutral site, and it's like that's kind of cool. What do you think about them doing it in a neutral site?
I like it,
a lot of people were very impressed with the crowd they got.
Yeah,
like that's a sports place. Like they love the Regina Pats there. Like that's one of the biggest CHL franchises. Obviously, the Rough Riders are kind of a big deal.
Well, I heard the other day, I think it might have been on the Spit and Chicklets podcast, where they basically said the Rough Riders have the most merchandise sales in Canada out of any other sports team.
Nuts. And there's some diehard CFL fans, and it scares me.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Crazy. And you have the Leafs, the Habs, the Canadians, the Oilers.
Mhm.
Habs and
Like-
Canadians hard to see.
Like some of the biggest NHL franchise.
Us.
And
Senators.
the Habs, the Canadian. I didn't even pick it up. Love it. Attaboy.
Put that on the
They
snippet.
sell.
quote.
They sell.
I meant Team Canada. Canadians, you know?
Canadians.
They sell merch as the Habs and the Canadians. It's wild.
Probably.
Incredible. The
English
What?
and French fans.
the toilet bowl logo and the other one.
one of the weirder stories that came out of that game was Mason Appleton broke a bone in his foot before the game playing football.
Soccer.
That they said it was football.
Yeah,
like,
football is in
Did you
soccer.
see them?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you sure? Because
yeah,
they were throwing a
No,
football
that was
around before
that was a bigger controversy than the actual injury because they kept calling it football and then they showed it and it was like football,
was it?
like European football. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Really
There's
does.
not much more to say on that. Like it's something every team does. Like you warm up, you bring out a soccer ball, or
that's
you
why
bring
that's
out
why
a
you
football.
shouldn't warm up when it's cold out. Like
Yeah.
bones get brittle, you'd break them. You don't want to do
Yeah.
that.
That's a
No
tough.
warm ups.
No, don't warm up. Fuck it. Men's
The
league,
headline-
men's league style. No warming up.
Mason Appleton breaks foot bone while he's playing sewer ball.
Yikes. That was
Sucks.
probably
It's a tough.
that was probably a bigger story than the advertising leading up to the game.
Yep. That,
It's because
yeah.
it was in Canada, no? Do you not agree?
I
yeah.
do. And it was big. Like out west there was a lot of ads for it apparently. But
Mhm.
like I would have
I heard
watched
nothing.
it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I
don't know.
knew it was
I-
on, and
I
I didn't watch
watched
it.
it.
so
Did you
It
guys
was a-
see Lowry's hit?
I did.
Yeah.
I heard he was suspended. Though. That's
2
all I know
games.
from that. Was it bad?
Huh?
I didn't see much of it, no.
It was in the numbers from mine. Sporting.
Earned
I
it?
thought 2 games was probably one too many, but
Okay.
I don't know. There hasn't
Um,
been many suspensions this year, has there?
No.
Is that the only one?
Yeah.
Might have been.
All right,
The-
we're gonna need to step that up. Let's go.
The one suspension that
Come on,
didn't
Wilson.
happen was
Oh.
Brendan Dillon with his hit last week. I think we talked about it, right?
Did you see his one on Marchand?
That's what I was just getting to. That one
Oh,
that the almost hit on Marchand, like that's suspension worthy, right?
That is how is that not intent to injure?
Exactly. Like no, you didn't connect, but like there's no
He's
other
not,
reason
he's not
for
going
you
to get
to be.
suspended just because he
No.
didn't hit.
No, I
But
know.
what is an intent to injure if a flying elbow jumping
Yep.
off your 2 feet to a guy
Yep.
whose back is
You-
turned to you?
You had 3 inches underneath your skates when the elbow came
Yeah.
across. It's like there's literally nothing else you're trying to do there except for take this guy's head off. And like you know what, most of the hockey world probably wouldn't be too upset. It's Brad Marchand, but that's not the point. Like it's still something you can't be doing as an NHL player. Like that should be a suspendable offense.
You should get suspended just for missing that nose with a flying elbow.
It's not like he was facing sideways. He's facing forwards. You got to be able to hit that. Yeah.
I
know,
thought
it's tough.
that was dirty.
At least a fine or something.
Yeah, because that's 2 games in a row for him.
Mm-hmm.
With
Yeah.
questionable.
You're
Like,
developing a
make yourself-
reputation of like this is the way you play.
Well, on Twitter at least.
Yeah. Yeah. fair.
Also, suspensions. We'll throw in Valentin Zykov there. Shout out to him for not knowing he was using performance enhancing. Shout out
There's
to
a
Vic.
weird story behind that too, though, isn't there? Like,
Yeah, not as bad as Schmitz.
yeah.
Schmitz, that was such a dumb
Didn't-
suspension. That was so unfair. But
Didn't he claim he said he didn't know, and then the team said that he did know, and then like something? It's weird.
yeah, and he's like, well, I didn't know. Then he was like, well, I didn't know this much was too much or something. Like,
Right.
I don't know.
So he knew he was taking it. He just didn't know he was taking too much of it. Stupid.
Yeah, I don't
Just bonehead.
Oh.
Like you're in the NHL. Give your head a shake. Learn what you can and can't do, man.
There's a lot though. That's a long list.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's so many different. I just
You're
mean
right.
there's so many different supplements
mean,
and stuff. And
So,
think
supplement
about it.
wise,
Like, do you know what's going in your body every day? Like, even just the chemicals that are in meat and stuff that you eat, like
Yep, that's fair.
stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Didn't really think of that one. But I mean, that was like from an actual supplement, though, right?
I
Like
don't
he
know.
actually, I'm not sure. Either way,
And there's informed talks.
we did so well. We went this far without actually not knowing something.
We
threw a
tried.
couple
in there.
We tried. You mentioned Roman Yossi a little earlier. Signed a big ticket. You kind of mentioned it already.
Yeah.
Did you
what was-
mention the AAV?
8 by 9.1.
Something along that. It's a little less than 1, but yeah.
So, I mean, he deserves it.
Yep. I like it if I'm Nashville, though. I think that's
That
pretty.
takes him to 37, though.
Yeah. The length of the contract isn't the prettiest, but you're not paying him Doughty money, or you're not paying him Carlson money, which is like, you know what? I'll take that. It's okay. I'm like, It's a little bit less. You still have a little more cap flexibility.
Also, full no move clause for the entire contract.
He is not a physical guy, though, so that definitely helps him in the long run.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He's more of a skilled defenseman, like obviously. Yeah.
Yep. I think the one thing that kind of just gets missed is like he loves Nashville. Like he loves that city. He got married there. He's not from there, and he still came over here to get married. Did all that. Loves the place. Loves to live there. Has his family living there.
Wears cowboy hats.
Yeah, like I don't think that should get looked over because it's like that's a leader in your locker room that loves this place and loves the team and loves to be here. It's like that's the guys you want in your locker room.
Yeah,
and yeah, you have him till he's 37, and it's going to be really expensive in those last few years. But that's a veteran leader that you're going to be like, yeah, you know what, he can still run this locker room and do a good job of it.
Yep. Did you see Did you see the video clip of him walking into the rink and all their staff lining up the hallway and clapping?
Yeah, that was cool.
That was pretty sweet. That's
kind of cool.
And then the players are all down at the end. Yeah.
All right, there's a few teams we want to go over, I guess. We want to start with Florida.
I honestly have not been paying attention to much in Florida other than Mike Hoffman, just because he's on my fantasy team and he's been lighting it up. To be honest with you, he's got 9, 10 goals now, maybe 11.
10.
Barkov obviously was one of our stars of the week with 7 assists. They're putting up goals as far as I can tell, and at least their top guys are.
They're turning it around a bit because, like, in the start, you're looking at Florida. It was a real short stint, but you're like, what the hell is going on with this team? Like, so many guys picked this team to be a fringe playoff team at least, and they weren't succeeding. Like, Bob was horrible.
He still hasn't been great. They're just outscoring teams.
Yeah.
No, they have the most goals against in the league right now.
Fun fact, that's not good.
$10 million for that.
Second most, sorry. Behind LA.
Thank God you have Spencer Knight, eh? Ouch. They have points in 8 of their last 9 games.
They are in a playoff spot right now, so
they're ahead of Toronto and Tampa. They're doing something right.
Are not ahead of Toronto right now.
They're not right now. 1 point. Toronto's in playoffs.
However, Toronto's got 2 games in hand, so.
Oh, that's what I was looking in the future.
Yeah. In a couple games, they'll be.
Yeah. After a back-to-back.
Do you think they can sustain that if Bob keeps playing like this? Like, I don't think you can't outscore teams all year.
No, but do you think Bob plays like this all year?
Man, there's been years where Bob plays like this all year.
Yeah.
This is the thing with Bob. It's like sometimes he shows up and he's like the easy Vezina candidate, and sometimes he shows up and he looks like me in the net. There's not really an in-between for him. Maybe not me.
That's a tough comparison for him.
Dude, he hasn't been good. Like, I couldn't make those saves, no, but like, he just doesn't look great. No, not a chance. That Ovechkin shot would have went through me. I would have moved. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
He's only had 1 season ever that he's had more than a 3 GAA. He's at a 3.79 goals against average right now. It's got to come down.
Yeah, you think it, even regressing a bit, like you're not going to jump that high.
No. I'm sure he'll get it. I'm sure he will get it under 3, like he has for his whole career. I mean, he has a career 2.49 goals against average.
Jeez.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
He's all right. He's not bad.
Yeah.
Want to run to the Yotes real quick?
Sure.
Or actually, you know what? I want to compare the two. So, the Yotes and the Isles both on a hell of a run. The Coyotes are they won last night too, right? So they're 8-1-1 in their past 10.
No, I updated that.
Did you update? Okay, 7-1-1 past 9, and the Isles have won 7 in a row now. Which one of these teams do you think is more legit?
Coyotes.
Okay.
I had them in the playoffs at the start of the year.
Yeah.
I like the way that they play. They play quick. Like, nobody watches them really, but I always try and watch like the 5 or 10 minute recaps of them, and they play quick. They have some offense. They have good defense, as we've said before. They're getting good goaltending from both their guys right now.
Yep.
I don't know if that's sustainable, but obviously with a tandem, you like your odds of having good goaltending.
Yeah, they're both really good. It's kind of
yeah.
like, it looks like New York did last year, where they had I'm blanking. The guy in Chicago now, Leonard
We'll just let
Leonard
him
and
figure it out.
Grace.
Yep.
Grice, thank you.
Oh.
I was not going to get Grice ever, but both
But,
of them looked really good because they weren't starting as many games, and it gave them that.
I'm still not sold on the Islanders. Like,
No.
tell me right now what's good about the Islanders.
The same as last year, the coaching.
Yeah.
They're basically the same team as last year.
Yeah, I'd say that their
Leonard.
goaltending's a bit worse. They're scoring at a bit higher rate. I love Barzal. He's amazing.
Wasn't
kind
their
of letting him
PDO,
go
like,
a bit more.
absolutely stupid last year?
It was good. It was really
Like,
good.
weren't they playing out of their minds? Like, they should not have been what they were?
Yeah, but for so long that we were just like, well, I guess that's what they are.
I guess. It's weird. It's just that team. It just doesn't give me a lot of confidence.
Yeah, I'm not
I'm
sold on
like,
it. I don't know what it is.
Anders Lee, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
Brock Nelson could be.
Matt Barzal's good, but like,
Barzal's gross. See,
Yeah,
the thing with
but,
Barzal, people get caught up and he had a tough sophomore year, but that was because Tavares left, so he got thrown
Right.
into first-line center matchups, and
Right.
Trotz was like, all right, kid, you're playing defense, and he's like, all right, I'm still going to put up 65 points. Like, he's playing over 19 and a half in a night, I think it was.
I don't think Barzal is what people say Barzal is. Like, I think that he came in that first year and just blew the doors off the place, so people are expecting him to be that every year. I don't know if he is that.
I don't think they're using him to be that.
No.
I think he's going to be a point per game player and someone that can play a 200 feet game because of his speed and his smarts.
Okay.
I'm not sold on their defense.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on their goaltending. I want to say that they can score goals with Eberle, Barzal, Nelson, Lee, like the guys we touched on, but
But you never know.
I'm not. I don't know.
How sold are you on St. Louis after Vlad is out for 5 months and then he'll be reevaluated? So it's not even like he's going to be out 5 months. Like, it's a long time.
Yeah, shoulder surgery. That's
what is this team now?
I don't know. Binnington hasn't been bad.
Yep.
He's put up some decent numbers. He's got a 2.67 and a 9.12, yet he's 5-2-3.
Yeah.
So they're getting to those overtime games, and they're just not winning them.
Mm-hmm.
They're keeping it close, but they're just not getting the wins that they were at the end of last year.
Yeah.
And I like their team. They're still deep. Like, it's mostly the same team as last year.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, some of their young guys got better, and they added Falk on the blue line.
Yep.
Petrangelo's looked good. Schen's looked good. He's up to 9 goals. Tarasenko was looking good. Ryan O'Reilly's steady. Like, I like them, but I don't know.
Yeah, the thing with this team is all they have to do is get into the playoffs, and they're a completely different team. They're built for the playoffs.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So as long as they squeak in even to the wild card spot, I don't think there's any question that they can't do the same thing as they did last year.
Mm-hmm.
And
especially there's a small chance Tarasenko's back by the playoffs. Like,
yeah.
Minuscule, but like there's a chance. So I mean, that becomes less of an issue. They are a team built for the playoffs. They've got that grit to them, and they're a rough team to play against. It's not a matchup you want to have on any night, especially in the playoffs where a lot more shit gets missed and they can just run you over all night long.
And
tough.
Even as tough as that division is, I'm still confident that they will make it. Mm-hmm. I was just more, I don't know about Binnington right now. Like, he still looked good, but they're not getting it done with him. Do you guys think he's going to regress at all? Like, what do you guys think?
I think you have to at that point. He was just so hot down the stretch last year. It's like you're going to regress a bit.
Yeah, for sure. But how much?
It depends where he stops. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because if he falters, what are you giving it to Jake Allen? Uh-oh.
I think his numbers last year were blown out of proportion. Yes, he played good, but at the same time, like the high dangerous scoring chances against were very minuscule game in, game out from January onwards. They tightened up as soon as Berube took over. And a lot of people say, hey, Binnington coming in, that saves their year. Yeah, sure, but
it did help. It was a big.
Yeah, but
it's a turning point to
Craig Berube came in at the exact same time, or maybe a week difference or whatever. And
he
I
was
think
just
that
before.
was
Yeah.
more or less than Bennington.
I think both together is kind of a big push to you because you get a whole new look as your coach. It changes your systems. You get a little better defense, and then you get this goalie that's like, oh shit, he's saving everything. So it kind of helps a little bit. Like they both. I don't think you win the cup without both of them. Like it's not like you could have just brought in Binnington and got to where you were, or just brought in Berube and got to where you were. I think you need both to happen.
I just don't think he's warranted for Vezina votes at the beginning of the year yet. Like,
did anyone
obviously,
vote
no, but I just mean people were in talks. Like, I watched SportsCenter, TSN, whatever. They gave a few votes to him in their like 100 experts poll.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I don't think he's in my top 5. I don't know many people that would have him.
I don't know if I'd give him top 10.
no.
Do you think there's 10 goalies better than him?
Yes.
There's 4 better than him in Canada.
He's shout out to Mac's article. He's not making the squad.
I haven't read that one. I saw it just before I got on. Who'd you put on that?
Boss.
Fleury, Price, and Holtby.
Oh, you mean like Canadians? I thought you meant like Canadian teams.
No.
Like,
no.
okay, then maybe. I thought you meant like in Canada, like currently playing in Canada. I'm like,
on a road swing.
Craig Anderson.
I'd go
2, Anderson and Price though.
Yeah. You put Anderson above him right now?
Yeah.
He takes so many shots per game and
Yeah,
so many
Anderson.
danger shots per game.
Yep. Okay, that's fair.
Do you actually want me to name?
I mean, if you can name 10,
No.
I'd like to see it.
No. I'm good.
Didn't think
Anderson,
so.
Price, Gibson for sure.
Rask,
Rask. Bob, Fleury,
Did you say
Holtby.
Bob?
Leonard.
Okay. All right.
I
I don't think we're at 10
Alex
yet.
Stalock.
Tristan Jarry.
Jonathan.
Tristan
Rene.
Jarry of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Pekka Rinne, Carey Price.
The Penguins
Lundqvist.
could get Malkin back.
Yeah.
If we want
Yeah,
to
that was
really
quick.
goalie talk.
That was a quick long
that
term.
went from long term, could be the whole season, to a couple weeks.
Rushing
Welcome
gas.
back.
Yeah. And they're in a wild card spot right now without him, so
Yeah.
What is this team now?
We were all hard on them.
Yep. I like the Penguins. I've been a Penguins fan for a while. I have 2 Penguins jerseys hanging in my closet.
Fake.
But like this team just looked no, one of them's legit. But this team, like, this just didn't look like they could win games. It's like they didn't have the depth. And Malkin goes down, Gouch goes down, Bukestad goes down, and they win more. I'm like, what?
and they're crushing teams too. It's not like they're
they slaughtered Philly last night. Just slaughtered.
But that's not it though. Like if you look at their last few wins, like
when they win, they win big.
8-2, 7-1, like doesn't make sense.
So what is this team when Malkin gets back then? Like
they regress because Crosby goes, I don't need to carry the whole team, and then Malkin's like, oh, I'm actually hurt for another 2 months. I'm just playing.
So they get worse.
Yes.
So getting Malkin back could be the thing that kills the Penguin season, is what you're saying.
No, but like,
book it. Quote it
do
up.
you guys expect them to be this good all year if they don't have Malkin? I don't.
No.
They'll regress. I don't think anyone does.
Their fourth line scoring like crazy. I couldn't even name those guys. We did this a couple podcasts ago without Mac. We named guys and we were like, I don't know who they are.
Nope. We went through like the whole team, and there's like 8 guys total that I knew as the Pens fan.
They've done this their whole Sid's whole career has been guys like random guys they call up. Look at Connor Sheary, made a name for Connor Sheary.
Yeah.
Look at even Chris Kunitz. Like who was he before Crosby?
Even
Pascal
Gensel.
Dupuis.
I didn't know Gensel as a prospect.
No, neither did I. And now he's a 40-goal scorer.
Yeah, who got paid?
Yeah.
Fun fact. I just got an ad pop up, but Tristan Jarry has I think it's a 1 point. I just read it and then it got covered up. It is a 2.02 goals against and a 939 save percentage. It's only 3 games.
Many games. Yeah.
3 games, so it's not a big sample size, but like, oh, this kid's not bad. I mean, it's a shock. You don't expect it to continue, but like, good start. Probably going to regress. Probably going to help the Penguins drop off a little bit.
I mean, when you look at the goaltending leaders for like, say save percentage, like Hutton's in there, Ryan Miller's in there, Grice, Allmark, Kemper, Leonard, who I guess makes sense, and then Demko. Like, I don't think we had any of those guys on our Vezina votes.
Demko's pretty good, but
Demko's going to be awesome, but I don't
Yeah, I was
think
gonna
he's
say
there
Demko's
yet.
a pretty high prospect, but
Oh yeah.
the
Okay, if
Vancouver's
you're
a good team, though,
Vancouver,
right?
Did we talk about this last podcast? Who's your goalie?
Vancouver?
Who's your goalie next
Who's
year?
our goalie? Yeah, well, who are they going to give up in the draft? But we looked at this last year, and Demko's still protected.
Okay. Deja vu.
Yeah.
Yeah, Demko's still good.
We got
but
good memories on that.
they're going to have to trade Markstrom soon.
Yeah.
Because they still have DiPietro in the minors, too.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Maybe give up on DiPietro? That could net you some.
Yeah, for sure.
I
but
would. He came in last year and let him 7 goals.
Yeah,
Sure, it was his first game, but
he shot up from like the WHL, was it not?
it was right. Was it right before, or right after the
It was
World
right
Juniors?
After
Yeah.
the World
And he
Juniors.
didn't have a good World Junior either. He sucked.
No, I'm not saying he's the goalie of the future. Like, that's Demko's
No.
job for sure.
Yeah.
But you got to move on from Markstrom at some point because you're not paying 2 starting goalies.
No.
You can pay 2 middling goalies.
They
you can
could
run a
trade.
tandem.
Yeah. I would trade one of those 2 goalies either way. Plus,
I'd just
Markstrom.
have some fun with both of them until it runs out and one of them isn't a starting goalie
Yeah, but you're
anymore.
a biased Canucks fan.
I would not call myself a Canucks fan yet. I just love watching that team. It's a lot of fun. They make me a lot of money. And that's what it's going to be for weeks until they hit that midpoint and they're just like, wee, because it happens every year. So bet on them now while they're still good because they're sick.
Except for you just said it, so that's probably the end of that.
Yeah. Hey, man, they're doing all right for me. I love it. Back to the Penguins real quick. Matt Murray's back up to a 923. Do you think Matt Murray's back to being Matt Murray, or do you think this is a flash in the pan?
Until he gets hurt again.
Okay.
That was his issue
But
last
even-
year. I think he was so hurt. He was hurt so much last year that even when he was healthy, he wasn't really healthy.
He played 50 games.
Oh, I know, but he definitely
49
missed
years
a
before.
good chunk of time.
Was that last year or the year before? I thought he was healthy last year.
I thought he missed games last year.
Either way, he has been injury prone for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any doubt that he's a good goalie, but sometimes he puts up these great numbers, and you're like, oh, that's the guy that they kept over Fleury. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And he gets hurt, and you're like, oh, Tristan Jarry.
He single-handedly won them 2 cups, realistically. Like, that defensive unit in both of them was god-awful. And it was just like,
Ron
Murray,
Hainsey.
yeah, as your number one guy.
Name
Because Winnipeg
association.
and Ottawa
Brian
was
Dumoulin.
just
Ian Cole.
Name
Plus
that
minus
D-man. Like, not great. Trevor Daley, I think, was on that one.
He's good.
Yep. Sure. No. I don't even know where he is anymore. It's fun. Good team. Speaking of D-men that are a bit of a mess, sorry, Mac. Brent Seabrook, English. He was a healthy scratch the other day, right?
Yeah. Two games in a row now.
What do you do with this guy?
There's not many guys who can trade him to. Like, his contract's
Robida
ridiculous.
Island.
Pretty much. Like, I don't know. Here's the teams that can actually afford him right now. Columbus, Ottawa, Colorado, Montreal, Winnipeg, and Los Angeles.
Does
And
this not
New Jersey.
smell like an Ottawa trade?
I was going to
Yeah.
say that, and then you mentioned Winnipeg.
If he gets moved, it's Ottawa. I don't see how or why, but it's
Montreal,
Ottawa.
apparently Montreal, LA, and Ottawa are interested.
Oh my!
if
That's
they're
exactly
right
what LA needs. Another guy on the wrong side of 35 with way too much money.
You're telling me of those
That's
teams,
represent-
Winnipeg's not one interested in it? The team
Pardon
with,
me?
like, you're telling me Winnipeg's not interested in that? A little bit?
I said Winnipeg, didn't I?
Did you? I heard Montreal, LA, and...
Ottawa. Oh, sorry. I did.
Yeah.
I meant Winnipeg, yeah.
Okay. It makes sense to me for Winnipeg, because, like, their decor is...
AHL level.
That whole Lucas Sabiza thing was so funny. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Like he'd been trying out with the Devils,
Yeah.
and then he has a house in Anaheim,
Mhm.
And so he was going to sign there, but they had to put him on waivers because he was on a PTO and he was coming back from New Jersey to Anaheim. So Winnipeg picked him up. Imagine that, thinking that you're going to get to go like live at home in Anaheim, and then they're just like, actually, we're going to send you to the coldest place on earth.
Even if you get sent down in Anaheim, you go to their AHL team.
Yeah,
there's
San
just
Diego Gulls. Yes, please.
Like, there's no losing there. And now you're in this shit situation where you play in Winnipeg.
Now he's like, Jesus Christ, I'm top pair. I don't want these minutes.
You're getting first line minutes.
And even if you get sent down, you're still in Winnipeg. You're still playing for Manitoba.
Manitoba.
You're not winning that one. That's tough.
What a day.
Who put Erik Karlsson on the list?
Sorry, just going back to Matt Murray. Last year he dealt with concussion coming into the season, lower body injury in November, and upper body injury in February.
So it was last year that he was hurt all that much. Okay.
And the year before, 2 years in a row.
Okay. Because I knew it was 2 years ago for sure. I didn't know he wasn't healthy last year too.
Big Pens fan.
Yeah, huge.
Leafs, Pens, Canucks, Jays.
They don't get a lot
Nationals.
of coverage here. You can't even watch games. No, that's it.
I didn't put
Erik, man.
I didn't put Erik Karlsson on the list, but I can tell you why somebody did. He has 1 goal and 8 assists in 12 games, but there's another number that's pretty interesting in there. That's plus minus. He's at a minus 11.
It's not good. I put it in there. It's not good.
12 points for Karlsson.
9 points in 12 games, and he's minus 11.
Ouch.
So
his plus
doesn't
minus
look like
has not been pretty the last couple of years, though, right? Like it was
No,
bad.
career minus 41. So
Also, some of those Ottawa teams were bad. I'll give him that. But
he's not a defenseman.
No, he never was, and I just put him there because like he's looked bad. I don't know if you guys have watched many Sharks games, but he's just looked bad. He's not the same Erik Karlsson. Like I watched the game against Montreal
with his injuries for sure.
Yeah,
they made a good
ever since
point.
that leg, he doesn't skate the puck anymore. Remember when he used to buzz past guys in Ottawa? Now he just stands there and throws stretch passes. And sure, sometimes it works, but Erik Karlsson has a negative Corsi. He's 48.9. That's not good. That's not something I'd ever thought I'd say about Erik Karlsson.
I forget what I was listening to. It might have been the Steve Dangle podcast, but they were saying you look at video of Erik Karlsson, he literally can't turn his, I think it's his right foot, whatever one he got sliced.
Yeah.
Like he can't turn it anymore. Like it's got to contribute a little bit to the fact that like
Was
he's
it
not
that
Erik
injury,
Karlsson.
or didn't he have an ankle problem the year after that?
I think both. It was both on the same foot though, right? Like
I think it was the same foot, but the Achilles was forever ago. Like he's kind of bounced back from that, but I think
you got to
it's the
think.
year.
So you got to think. So there's the Achilles thing, and then there's the ankle.
I
2 years ago.
2 years. Yeah,
So
whenever he was in
you
Ottawa.
have 2 serious injuries on the same foot. Like for a guy that relied a lot on his feet and his ability to skate, that's gonna.
That was what he was best at.
Yeah,
he was a one-man breakout. Like you didn't have to worry about it. He's getting it to the far blue line.
Yeah, especially for a guy on the
can't
wrong
skate
side. Yeah, especially for a guy on the wrong side of his career who's coming down. It's going to be like you're already going to start seeing the decline in your speed. To blow up your foot like that, it's like you're going to lose it real quick at that point. It's tough.
Yeah, and I mean, by no means is he a bad player, but like he was a point per game in 15-16. He was almost a point per game in 16-17, missed a few games. Almost in 17-18, but started to regress, had 62 and 71. Last year he had 45 in 55 games or so. And like he still has points this year, but it's not the same Erik Karlsson, and when people see it they're like, "Oh, that's not what I was expecting."
It's even what's even crazier to me is his teammate Brent Burns is like kind of on the same pace as him. He's got 3 goals and 10 assists and 13 points in 13 games, and he's a minus 9 as well. The more interesting stat for me with Brent Burns is that he only controls 46% of the shots when he's on the ice.
Which I was surprised at because he shoots the puck so much.
He shoots a lot. He's got 36 shots. So imagine how many times like the other team's shooting the puck on Jones or Dell when he's on the ice. It must be a lot.
A ton.
But I mean, also, I guess we got to factor into plus minus the fact that Martin Jones and Aaron Dell are
can't save a first shot of a game
until they play the Leafs and Martin Jones looks like
and then Martin Jones says, quick, put me on the Vezina ballot.
Yeah.
And also Burns plays with Vlasic, who has been defensive defenseman, like one of the best in the league forever, and he
Yeah.
still gives up that many shots.
Yep.
Yeah,
What are you gonna
Wow.
do, man? It's a
Well,
mess in San Jose. It's not
that's a
pretty.
big contract.
Yeah.
Vlasic's is even
There's a few
worse.
of
He's
them.
only got 1 goal this year, no assists. He's minus 11, and his
He had 6 more years? 7?
and his shot attempt percentage is 42%. So
That was a bad signing at the time, though. You don't pay.
Yeah, it was not even
defensive
good
defensemen.
then. No.
You don't pay defensive defensemen. You need them, but you don't make them that highly paid because
No.
they're the guys that are playing physical. They're the guys that are going to get hurt. They're the
Yeah.
guys that eat the hard
Just
minutes.
wear and
Like,
tear. It's just
Yeah,
look how much
it happens.
look at how much they have in defensemen in cap.
everything.
With
Everything.
three.
Their cap,
With
man.
3.
Yeah.
That's why Kevin LeBank's getting $1 million a year.
Yeah,
What a
yeah. Like between him, Carlson, Burns, and Vlasic, that's 27 million per year.
Wow.
That's a lot. 3
And then you
guys
throw
on the back
in-
end.
And then you throw in Myers at 6, Couture's 6.
Vander Kane.
Ertles almost 6. Kane's at 7. Couture's at 8.
Yikes.
Yeah, they're gonna be in trouble.
I think
Yeah.
they're gonna fall off quick in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Fall off. They're already falling off.
I know,
They already
think-
don't
think
look
about
good.
how
They got
long-
slapped by Ottawa the other day, man.
Yeah, that was tough. Think about
They
how
got a
long
minus
they
16
were a
goal
playoff
differential.
team.
A long time.
Like there was a good 10-year run, I want to say. I don't know math, but they were just
Probably.
every year like
Probably more.
Like, Is Joe
Since the
Pavelski the
lockout.
key to success?
Patrick Marleau.
Well, that was their thought process. Doesn't seem to be the thing, man. Joe Pavelski, that's your guy.
That's the guy.
That's the key. I think we're out of storylines for the week. Who wants to tell me where to put my money this week?
Sure, I'll tell you a little bit.
All right.
Devils have been very good the last few games, so I'm going to hit them when they're hot. If Carter Hart starts, if Carter Hart or Brian Elliott start for the Flyers, I'm putting everything against them right now because they both suck. So I'm taking the Devils spread, no matter what the spread count is on Friday night, because I'm going to try and win some money back. And the Leafs spread against the Flyers, back-to-back for the Flyers and Hart or Elliott in net. And hopefully the Leafs come to play on Saturday night. So you got the Devils spread on Friday night, the Leafs spread on Saturday night, both against the Flyers. And that's where I'm sitting for bets this week.
Okay. Nick, you got anything?
No idea.
Yeah.
Pound the over.
Yeah, it's just everywhere. Don't
I
bet.
love the over.
Don't bet with Edmonton anymore. That's my thing.
Oh,
I refuse to bet Edmonton.
Can we go through our
Yes.
canceled teams list right now? Tampa, Edmonton,
Tampa, Nashville.
Colorado, Vegas.
I'm doing okay with Colorado and Vegas, but you're on them.
Vegas
Dallas,
got me like 6 in a row and then just lost like 3 in a row.
Dallas. I don't know.
No, I love Dallas
Probably
for the
wrong.
under. Every time I
Okay.
see Dallas, I'm like, yeah, under.
Didn't they hit the over? Did they hit the over last night?
They
They
did
won
too because
6-3 or
they
something,
scored.
right?
They scored 6 unanswered.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. Just there's a lot of teams. Don't bet. There's a few you could bet. There's just a bunch do not bet. That's all
You know
I
what
got for.
You know what a good bets have been lately? It's kind of off topic for hockey, but Josh Allen passing yards.
Yeah, he's been crushing offensive things for the last 2 years.
Like
I think-
I've won the over every single week this season on Josh Allen passing
Really?
yards. It's been
I
low.
think-
It's been like his over under on passing yards. It's been like between 205 and 215 every week. And at
I think
decent
there was
value.
There was some
8 weeks in.
stupid stat last year where it was like since his I don't know if it was like since the halfway mark or something, but like he was the highest fantasy points for any quarterback in the NFL.
Other than
And,
Patrick
like,
Mahomes.
Not even like in the second half of last season, I think it was. He was the highest fantasy points of any quarterback.
Didn't
also just
Mahomes
because-
have like 7 touchdowns and 500 yards in one game?
Didn't matter just because he got all the rushing yards and rushing touchdowns too. And it just like his
That's true.
fantasy value was stupid high. It was ridiculous. I'm like, I saw that pop up. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Because you don't think of it. He just quietly does it. And you could be like, yep, take my money.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might as well end on football then. That was a good way to end our hockey
Yeah.
podcast.
Game
Thanks for
7's
listening.
on. We're talking
Game
football.
7's on. I've been watching.
Listen to hockey podcast.
Yeah, I'm wearing a baseball sweater. Gotta love it. Thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the like button. Both of them down there somewhere.
Bash our stars of the week.
Yeah. slide in our DMs. Hit me. Tell me why I'm wrong. I love it. Cheers.
See you guys.